All right, you're welcome to another edition of Success Unleashed. And I remain your host and teacher, Solomon Ubi. I'm glad to have you with me on this edition or episode of Success Unleashed. And this is the fourth episode that I'm having in this series. I have been discussing on principles of success and advancement. For the past three episodes, we've been on principles of success and advancement. We've looked at the laws of um, reciprocity. We've looked at the law of mental equivalence. We've looked at the law of control. And today I'm going to be sharing another very important law that you need to understand and make use of for you to be able to achieve your goals, which is your success, and also make advancement in your life. Very, very important. Now, these five laws, which I've already handled three already, if you missed any of these episodes, you can check for it on Abiding TV, Success Unleashed. Before I go on, let me appreciate my host, Abiding TV, and Mr. Yinka once again for the great job they are doing to use this platform to reach many more people with the gospel of the kingdom of God and also teaching people principles in different areas of life. Thank you so much, Abiding TV team and Mr. Yinka. So, today I'm going to be on the fourth principle of law. Now, these laws are fundamental. I call them the um, the foundation for a successful life. Living your life with this law is what I call living by design, not living your life by chance and by faith, but living your life by applying certain principles that stands true for eternity and getting the desired result and outcome. So, the law I'm going to be sharing with you today is the law of practice. The law of practice. We have heard this saying many times, practice makes perfect. That statement embodies one powerful law of human nature, which is the law of practice. But I don't like saying that practice makes perfect. I like tweaking that adage a little to say practice makes better. Practice makes better. Why do I say that? I do not think that any of us, in whatever skills, in whatever areas of knowledge, of ability, I do not think that we can reach the point we call perfection. All right? But I believe that we can constantly, through practice, improve our skills, our talents, our abilities, our knowledge base to become constantly better. So we are going to be looking at the law of practice and how it affects you in your business, in your family, in your career, and in your personal life. All right? So I'll come back after this short break to take you really deep into this. Don't go anywhere. Invite your friends, invite your colleagues, tell them to come on Abiding TV. I'll be right back after this break. All right. You're all welcome back to this edition of Success Unleashed. All right, so I believe we are all ready to get deep into this. We are looking at the law of practice as one of the fundamental laws for achieving success and making progress or advancement in life. So, you're all welcome. Let's get this started. Why is the law of practice very, very important? First, let me help you understand this law of practice. Okay, it's not a, it's not something difficult, but it's something I would like to explain so that you can understand it and then make it part of your everyday life. All right. Now you need to first get this point. There is nothing you will ever achieve, or man ever achieve, or anybody ever achieves effortlessly without consistent practice. Without consistent practice. So the law of practice simply states that for you to become better in whatever area of your life, for you to become a master in anything that you are doing, then you will need to practice that thing again and again and again. So the law of practice means for you to be a master in any field, in anything, for you to be better in your skills, your abilities, your talents, you have to do it repeatedly. You have to do it repeatedly. You find that in nature, right from when we were young, as a little child, you learn to walk by walking. You learn to walk by walking. You learn to eat by eating. Everything we learned from childhood, we learn them by practice. Practice. Doing it repeatedly. Can you imagine a child that starts walking for the first time? It is taken for granted that the child will fall. The child will keep slipping over, keep falling. Now, it's not the falling that is the issue. The issue or the problem will be if the child refuses to stand up and continue walking even after he or she has fallen. All right? The only way the child can master walking without falling to the point of even running is to keep walking, to keep walking. No matter how many times he falls or she falls, he or she just needs to keep walking. That's the only way children learn how to walk. Now, the same thing applies to you and I, even at adult age. The only way you become better in anything you do is to keep doing that thing over and over. It is a law. It's called the law of practice. You fail at your first attempt, but please just give me a minute. Let me silence my phone so that I won't be distracted. All right. So I was saying, even though you may have failed in trying to achieve whatever it is, your goal, your dreams, your project, you may have failed in trying to apply your skill or your talent, is natural. That may be your first attempt. So what do? Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. The more you keep doing it, the more you become better because you'll be knowing what works and what does not work and how not to do it and how to do it. So that's what the law of practice is all about. Practice simply means doing a thing repeatedly, over and over again, or deliberately doing a thing repeatedly in order to become better and proficient. Doing a thing repeatedly in order to become better and proficient. That's what practice is. For example, you want to know how to play the keyboard. You want to be an expert in playing the keyboard. So you give 1 hour to 2 hours every day in practicing how to play the keyboard. So every day you have a set time, you go on the keyboard and you are practicing, you're practicing, you're practicing. Now, as you keep playing that keyboard, you keep becoming an expert. You keep becoming better. There is nothing you will ever achieve in your life without applying this law. Whether you are in business, the first time you get into business, you may not get the result you desire. But when you keep doing it again and keep doing it again and keep doing it again, you start getting the results because you're becoming better by consistent, deliberate, repeated actions. All right? That's what the law of practice simply is. So, like I said earlier, people say practice makes perfect. That's good, but I like tweaking that. Practice makes better. Practice makes better. And I told you why at my introduction. I told you why. But let me quickly say this. It's not all practice that will make you better. Yes. It's not all practice that will make you better. It's not all practice that gives you mastery in your area, in your field, in your industry. It's not all practice. But before I come into that, let me take you a little bit backward. Everything can you can develop. I want to put in the way you understand. You can become proficient in using anything or applying anything if you do it repeatedly. If you do it repeatedly. For example, I want to use a very personal example. Okay, something some persons struggle with. Okay, for example, you are learning how to read. You want to learn how to read. Now, when you start reading, and I'm not just talking about those who don't know how to read at all. Sometimes the novel or the book you are reading, you've never read that kind of book before. But because you want to learn that area, when you start reading, it will look as if you are not absorbing, you are not comprehending what you are reading. It will seem as if you're not making sense. All right? What you are reading is not getting in. But listen, when you read one page, even if you do not understand what the page is saying or the whole chapter, go back again after you finished it. After a while, you go back again, read it again, and then read it again. By the time you read it 3 to 4 times, you will begin to be able to comprehend that particular chapter or page or whatever it is you're reading. Now, that's the law of practice. You want to you want to change a habit, for example. You want to change a habit, maybe a habit of not keeping to your word. All right, you give people a promise but you don't keep to it, and it's become a habit. So you can easily tell somebody, I'll call you, and yet you know you won't call and you don't call. You can easily tell somebody, okay, I'm going to be there for you, I'm going to help you, but you don't ever keep to it. Now, that can be a habit, a very bad one, because it makes you to lose your integrity. People can trust you. How do you go about changing it? Whenever you make a promise, even if you don't feel like doing it, just go ahead and do it. The first time it may look awkward, the first time you may not be happy with it, and the first time you may have this struggle inside of you, an eternal struggle, if to keep to that promise. But listen, if you go ahead and do it, and then you do it again, even with the struggles you are having, and then you do it again, in a very short time, it becomes a habit. Keeping to your word becomes a habit. So, how are habits formed? Whether good habits or bad habits, how are they formed? Simple. Doing a thing repeatedly, deliberately and repeatedly, you will form a habit. That's how you can form a productive habit. That's how you can form a habit of waking up at the right time, perhaps in the morning. That's how you can form a habit of personal self development. Personal development. All right. You can form a habit of reading a chapter in a day. You can form the habit of listening to a webinar, a seminar, a message, whatever it is that builds your life. If you just keep doing it. Now, this is a good thing about the law of practice. When you do a thing repeatedly for a long time, it becomes part of you. It becomes part of you. That's the power of the law of practice. That's how powerful practice is. Even if it was difficult at the start, if you continue to do it over and over, you start doing it effortlessly. You start doing it effortlessly. Now, we call that unconscious competence. There are levels of competencies. Okay, let me quickly break this down before I move on. There are levels of competencies. There is a level called conscious competence. Conscious competence. That means you are competent in that thing, but you need to apply effort and your entire mental power to be able to do it. For example, you may know how to drive a car, but you cannot drive and do more than one or two things. You cannot drive, okay, and maybe you're sipping water, okay, taking water from your bottled water or your water cup. Now, you may not be able to do that, even though you know how to drive. You may not be able to even take your eyes off the road in front. Some drivers starting to learn how to drive can't even take their eyes off their screen, all right, to the rear mirror. They can't look at the rear mirror. Now, they can drive, but they can do certain things unconsciously. For them to be competent in driving, they need to still be conscious of what they are doing. Now, you reach a point in driving that you are unconsciously competent. The first one was conscious competence, but the second one is unconscious competence. So, you are driving. There are people who drive and make call. Now, that's wrong. Don't try it. All right. But there are people who drive and make call. There are people who can drive and they are tuning their car stereo at the same time. Okay. There are people who can drive and they are looking at their side mirrors. So they are able to do one, two things while they are still maintaining their focus on driving. Now, it's called unconscious competence. And there are some experts that before they hit a vehicle, without even thinking, they mash the brake, reduce the gear, and all that. Unconscious competence. Why did I go into this? Practice will bring you to the point of having this level of competence called unconscious competence. That simply means you do things effortlessly. When you see people that are very good, people who are masters, okay, people who become masters in what they do, we all like them. Sometimes you see somebody playing the keyboard or playing the drum, you say, wow, this guy is exceptional, this guy is good. How did he get to that point? He got to that point through practice until he got to the point where he could do it even unconsciously. Unconsciously. He can even close his eyes and he's pressing the right keys on the keyboard. That's a level of mastery that makes him an expert. because he applied the law of practice. This is what I'm trying to say to you. Keep practicing. Keep doing what you do repeatedly again and again and again. You may not enjoy doing it at the first, but I'm telling you that if you can just do it a little bit more, a little bit more. Now, don't take many at a time, or don't take too much that you can handle at a time. Just a little bit, one step at a time. When I decided to come into the online space, when I decided to get my message by using digital technology to many persons, now I wasn't used to it. It wasn't a space that I have been in. Yes, I've been speaking in conferences, but they have all been offline. I've never been used to speaking like I'm doing right now. All right, in a live webinar, communicating to many persons I'm not seeing physically. I wasn't used to it because I've never done it before. I was also not used to making posts, writing posts on my social media handles. But when I decided to use social media and digital technology as a tool to get my message across to many more people, listen, I began practicing. Now, the first time I tried it, the first time I made the first post on social media, on Facebook, all right, I didn't feel like writing again. In fact, there were some days I did not make any post, okay, and then there were some times I would go for a whole week and I will not make any post. I won't communicate with the people who I was were there to hear my message because I wasn't used to it. It wasn't me. So sometimes I will make a post like 2 times in a week, 3 times in a week, 4 times in a week, sometimes none at all. But the point is this: I told myself you will keep doing this. Even if you don't do it in a day, the next day you will wake up and you will do it. I was committed to my commitment. I told myself you will just keep doing this. Why? Because I understood the law of practice, that if I can just keep repeating the action of writing and posting on my social media handles and coming online like this and sharing my message online, that I will get used to it. I will get used to it if I can just keep doing it. Yes, I may not have been perfect at the beginning. I may not have even enjoyed it. I had made some mistakes and all that. People had laughed at my first videos then, but I just knew, Solomon, if you will just keep doing this repeatedly, repeatedly, you will master it. You will master it. Why? Because the law of practice says if you keep doing a thing repeatedly, you will become proficient and then you can even go on to be a master in that thing. It's all the law of practice. All right. I said earlier that not all practice leads to mastery. Not all practice makes you better. Not all practice makes you proficient in what you want to do, what you want to achieve or become. All right? Now, what kind of practice? What kind of practice will make you proficient or a master in your field? All right? On any skill you want to acquire, or your talents or your abilities. What kind of practice? The practice that leads to mastery in anything must be an intentional and strategic practice. It must be intentional and strategic. The practice must be intentional and strategic. I'm repeating it. The practice that leads to mastery and proficiency is the practice that is intentional and strategic. That's very important. That's very important. Many years ago, a man called Malcolm Gladwell proposed a theory that if you do a thing 1,000 times, sorry, if you do a thing for 10,000 hours, you become a master in it. That was a theory by Maxwell Glacon. That if you do a thing for 10,000 hours, you become a master in it. All right? But the question is this: is that really true? According to Malcolm Gladwell, That 10,000 hours invested into any career, any industry, any field, any skill, any talent, any ability will make you a master in it. A master in it. That's by Malcolm Gladwell. But the question is this: is that really true? That's true, but not the total truth. That's true, but not the total truth. And I'm going to explain. All right, stay with me. I'm enjoying this. I'm going to explain. You can put in 10,000 hours in learning how to score a goal like Ronaldo on your own. You take to the you take your ball to the field every day, and then you check the hours you put every day, and it's up to 10,000 hours. And every day you take the ball to the field, you just keep the ball and you are practicing how to hit the net, how to be a good striker on your own. Take note, on your own. And you've invested 10,000 hours. And then I want to make an analogy. Here's another guy who goes to the field with a coach, a football coach. And he goes to the field and he also puts in 10,000 hours like you, learning how to be a striker, how to hit the net every time he shoots at the ball or kicks the ball. But the difference with yours is that you weren't doing that repeatedly for 10,000 hours alone. He goes doing that repeatedly for the same 10,000 hours, but he has a coach. He has a coach. What's the purpose of the coach? The coach gives him feedback. Yes, the coach tells him, oh, the reason why you missed the goal post was because you stood like this. That's feedback. Now, that's the difference between this guy becoming an expert and you not becoming an expert or a master in striking the ball into the net. So, that's why great footballers, great stars, whether it's in football, in the music industry, in any area of life, even people who succeed in their life, that's why we all have coaches. We all have mentors, including me speaking to you right now. The reason is because if you keep doing a thing repeatedly, even if you're doing the right thing, you won't be a master in that thing, except you have someone that gives you feedback. Yes, someone that gives you feedbacks and tell you, position yourself like this, do it next time like this. Now, that's what is called intentional, deliberate, and strategic practice. Intentional, deliberate, and strategic practice is when you are practicing to become better by receiving feedbacks, by having a coach or a mentor tell you, position yourself next time like this. When you are writing your article, include this, remove this, frame it like this. Now, as you keep practicing with making those adjustments, that's when you become a master. That's when you become a master. All right? Take note of what I've said. It's very important. See, the truth is this: when the people you admire, whether they are musicians, they are pastors, they are authors, they are footballers, they are actors and actresses, or they are in politics or in government, whatever industry they may be, but you admire them, you love what they are doing, all right? You like watching them or listening to them or following them. The truth is this: they didn't get there, one, overnight, and then two, by doing nothing. They got to the point where you love them and where they have become a master of their field by doing that thing repeatedly over time. That's the truth. There's no shortcut to success. There's no shortcut to success. Even praying to be successful will not give it to you. So prayers helps you to be successful, but it's never a shortcut to success. There are things you need to do repeatedly in order to become successful and a master in whatever it is you are doing. So you will need a coach. You will need mentors. You will need someone or people that can give you feedback, whether you're in business or you're in a relationship or you are a career person. You need these feedbacks. You need these feedbacks so that you don't just keep doing the wrong thing repeatedly or the same thing repeatedly. But whenever you are repeating it, which is practice, you are tweaking it, you are adjusting, so you are improving, making advancement, getting results, and becoming more better. All right. So take note. If you can stay on anything for 10,000 hours, deliberately intentional, like I have said, the practice that makes you better, you become a master. You become a master. So all the stars were not born stars. No, nobody came into this world with the knowledge they have. All the people that speak, the great orators, and you love them, they never came into this world with the knowledge they have. Every one of us came with our minds on a tabula rasa, clean slate. But we all learn these things by practicing. We all learn to read by practicing. And the more we read, the more knowledge we get. So everybody that have acquired knowledge, they acquired it by doing repeatedly the act of reading and learning. Now, this is why this law is so important. I'm beginning to wind down now. This is why this law is so sweet to me and important. This law says to me that there is no one who cannot achieve any level they want to achieve. No one. You can achieve any level you want to achieve. It's all a matter of if you are willing and ready to give in the effort and the time it takes in doing it repeatedly. You can achieve anything. You can rise to the highest level of your life, in your career, in anything. You can rise to the highest level. I'm telling you this from the depth of my heart. You can rise to the highest level. You can become a Barack Obama. Oh yes. You can become a Ronaldo, whatever level. You can become the next Bishop David Oyedepo. You can become the next Pastor Sam Adeyemi. You can become anyone if you just give yourself to doing the right things over and over and over again. It's a law. And before you know it, it becomes part of you. It's your nature. You do it effortlessly. That's when we say that you have been set on autopilot. Autopilot. You just find yourself doing that thing with so much joy. Here am I. I mean, I'm enjoying myself talking to you. If I have the next 2 hours, I can go on just giving you many mysteries and things stored within me that can help change your life. But some years back, I'm not sure I will even do this for 5 minutes. I mean, online webinar like this. But I'm enjoying myself right now. Why? I began doing it. I failed, did it again. I didn't like it, but I did it again. And here am I, just enjoying myself. Some days I have webinars like 2-3 times. That's the truth. Some days 2-3 times. And I'm not tired because I like bringing my face out there, sharing this message, helping people, interacting with people, have people ask me questions, answer them, just become a part of your success story. That's why I like technology, making things so easy. All right? So this is the point. You can become anything. You can achieve any level you want to achieve. Let nobody tell you that you can do it. No. There's a young guy in my church. okay, the church where I pastor every Sunday. And when they brought the young boy to me, that he's an instrumentalist, he plays the drum. He wasn't good in playing the drum, but I love his spirit. He showed a level of commitment. All right, we already had a drummer, so I told him, okay, fine, just be coming, join them in their rehearsals. When the instrumentalists are rehearsing with the choir, just come around, be joining them. And the guy showed some high level of interest, commitment. So many times we come for midweek services, and the main drummer will hand over the drum to him. And you see this guy playing on the drum so excitedly, even though he wasn't perfect. He wasn't giving us the best. That's why we kept him for midweek service sometimes. But guess what? That young guy, I will be in my office sometimes and I'll be hearing the drum beating in the church hall. And I'll come out of my office and I will check. It was that young guy. I discovered he will always have his earpiece plugged to his phone, and then he's beating the drum. He's beating the drum very hard. One day I came out of the office and he was beating the drum with his earpiece right in, plugged into his ears. I asked him, what are you listening to in your ears? He said he's listening to a song and he's picking the beatings of the song. Now, guess what? That guy today, he is the lead drummer in our church. He is the lead drummer. He became so good. So good. I'm telling you, so good. A very young boy. I watched this guy progress from struggling with the drum, not giving us the best, to becoming so good that if he's not the one handling the drum set in a particular Sunday service, we all know the difference. That's the law of practice. That's the law of practice. So you can be anything. You can be anything if you are just willing to give the time, the effort in doing it again and again. Never let anyone tell you you can't succeed, you can't achieve your dreams because you failed at the first time of your trial. Never. And don't you tell yourself that because you failed at the first time of your trial that you won't be able to make it. That's a big lie. That's a big lie. That's the biggest lie you can ever tell yourself. Rather, what you should understand is this: you failed because you do not know certain things you should know. And the only way to get to know is to keep doing. The only way to get to know is to keep doing. But doing it with someone telling you something so that you don't repeat the same thing. I want to bring this to a close. All right? And let me share my last thoughts with you. All right. For you to become the best medical doctor in your field, you must keep practicing medicine. To become the best surgeon in your field, you must be involved in doing operations again and again and again. To become a good lawyer, the best lawyer in town, and make good money, then you must always be in the courtroom. You must always be in the courtroom. Always be reading your books to keep yourself updated of the current laws of the nation, of the country where you belong. That's the only way. It's the law of practice. For you to keep being relevant in the game of football, you need to keep going to the field to practice again and again. For you to keep being a good speaker, you need to keep standing before your mirror and getting out there before people, whether online or offline, to keep speaking. So the only way you become the best in whatever you do is just to keep doing that thing. And that would be my parting words for you. keep doing whatever you're doing. And when you do it again and again, you don't see result, tweak it, change it a little. And then to shorten your curve in achieving results, simply get a coach, simply get a mentor. All right? And someone like me, I'm available to help you in any area of your life. If it's within my industry or my field, I will gladly give you my consultancy services, because it's important. It's important that we become the best by doing things repeatedly. But in becoming the best and in doing things repeatedly, it's important you get someone to guide you so you don't repeat the same mistake. It's in repeating the same mistake that you become a colossal failure, because you keep failing again and again. And the problem with that is you become discouraged and you get out of whatever you wanted to do. So, for you not to give up or get out, for you to remain relevant, it's not just important to keep doing what you are doing, but get someone to show you better ways or give you better knowledge or show you how to apply your skill better while you keep doing it again and again. That's the law of practice. What you repeatedly do, you become proficient and an expert in it. All right, guys, let's bring this to a close here for today. It's been awesome sharing my thoughts with you, my deep truths, things I've lived with and I've taught people for like close to 40 minutes now. All right, so next week I'm going to be here again. And next week I'm going to bring the last of this series, which is the law of habit. All right, that will make it the fifth law in this series of principles of success and advancement. So make sure you are here next week. If you can share this video with your friends, you can like it, share it, comment on it, ask your questions. I'll come back to this video. I can answer your questions, okay, in the comment section. Tell your friends about Abiding TV and also about Success Unleashed. Let them like the page of Abiding TV, and then you can also set your alarm for every Tuesday, 4 p.m. for Success Unleashed with Solomon Ubi. I would like to hear your comments. I would like to have your questions. I would like to address them. I would like to simply be a part of your journey to success. All right, guys, it's been wonderful being here with you. I'm so glad. Do have a very wonderful week. And most importantly, keep staying safe. All right, we are not yet out of the danger zone of COVID-19. As I listen to the news, the numbers keep rising, especially in most African countries and in Nigeria. But globally, we are not yet out of it. WHO says so. So keep maintaining expert advice on how to stay safe during this period. Wash your hands as often as possible, especially when you come back from wherever you go to. Now that there is freedom of movement, only go out or travel when it is very, very important. If not, try to use technology to keep in touch with your loved ones and your business partners. I do that a lot. And then also when going out, make sure you use your facial mask, all right? Life, to be alive, is very, very important, because only the living can achieve success and add to people's life and make it better. So try to stay alive by staying safe. Thank you so much. Till I come your way again, I'm Solomon Ubi. God bless you.